Hi everybody and welcome to Heel Heat. My name is George Coles, and on this episode we're reviewing New Japan Cup 2023 Finals. Now if you haven't seen any of my shows before, we grade everything on a 1 to 5 scale. 1 is the worst, 5 is the best. Let's jump right in. We start off with Yuto Nakashima and Hiroshi Tanahashi going up against Taichi and Doki. This would kind of be a good barometer of what was going to happen in the main event. We see two of the members of Just Five Guys, which, if you're not familiar, is Doki, Taichi, Kanemaru, Taka Michinoku, and the just recently joined Sanada, who's in the finals. We'll talk about that here when we get to that part, but this was a good match to start the show with. Taichi and Doki pick up the win here. I'm giving this one a 3. Next up, we have Raihi Oiwa and Shota Umino going up against Kosi Fujita and Zack Sabre Jr. Again, this was another fun match, another good match to start off the show with. Oiwa and Umino pick up the win on this one. I'm giving this one a 3 as well. I thought it was good. So far, both matches were good. They were fun. They weren't necessarily what I would call great or even close to being great, but still good and fun to watch. Next up, we have Honma, Ishii, and Tama Tonga going up against Bullet Club, which is El Phantasmo, Chase Owens, and Kenta for this iteration. We kind of get a little bit of a teasing with commentary saying that LP is questioning David Finlay, and if Finlay doesn't win tonight, he's not really the leader. Kind of seeing a little bit of a rift there in Bullet Club, even though Finlay has just recently joined and just recently said that he is the leader. This was a fun match. The Bullet Club team of LP, Chase Owens, and Kenta pick up the win here. I'm giving this one a 4. This was my favorite match to this point in the show. Next up, we have an 8-man match. Ryusuke Taguchi, Toru Yano, Ren Narita, and El Desperado going up against Dick Togo, Sho, Yujiro Takahashi, and Evil representing the House of Torture, part of a sub-faction of Bullet Club. I'm kind of hoping that they split off House of Torture from Bullet Club and fully split them as an entity, because I feel like they're in two different directions here. House of Torture almost has become a joke, and it's not for the talent of any of the guys here. They're all talented wrestlers. Evil and Sho have shown, no pun intended, glimpses of greatness. Yujiro's always really been solid, just never really had a chance to show it. And Dick Togo's an absolute legend. This is probably my least favorite match on the card. The House of Torture team pick up the win here. I'm giving this one a 2. Afterwards, there's a lot of shenanigans. They pull off Desperado's mask. They spray paint HOT on Ren Narita. Kind of doing the NWO stuff. Kind of doing what Page's group is doing in AEW right now. I don't know, it felt stale and it felt boring to me. Like I said, I'm giving the match a 2. Next up, we have representing LIJ, Shingo Takagi and Naito going up against Aaron Henare and Great-O-Khan representing the United Empire. I kind of feel like United Empire has taken a little bit of a backseat, especially with TMDK, and we're going to talk about them here in a moment too. It feels like they're kind of in the same lane, but TMDK has taken a little bit of a precedence, maybe because they're newer, not really newer, but have new members and have a fresh lifeblood to them. Shingo and Naito pick up the win here for LIJ. I'm giving this match a 3. Next up, we have Yoshihashi, Hiroki Goto, and Kazuchika Okada going up against Jeff Cobb, Kyle Fletcher, and Mark Davis, representing United Empire. I really enjoyed this. There was a lot of foreshadowing here. Obviously, Aussie Open, Davis and Fletcher wanting to get a shot at Bishamon at some point and go for them tag championships. Jeff Cobb doing a lot of taunting of Kenny Omega, so it's obvious he's going to go on to a U.S. championship against Kenny at some point. This was one of my favorite matches of the card. The United Empire team of Cobb, Fletcher, and Davis pick up the win. I'm giving this one a 4. Next up, we have for the Junior Heavyweight Championship, Lio Rush going up against Hiromu Takahashi. I love this match. Hiromu is one of my favorite wrestlers. He's dangerous and chaotic, and everything I liked about wrestlers like Hayabusa and Sabu, I feel like Hiromu carries on. I feel like he's just an extension of what those guys done. Lio Rush is a fantastic wrestler as well. Lio Rush and this is no pun intended either, is probably one of the fastest wrestlers I've ever seen. I mean, the way he goes into a gear that he just flies all the way up and down and all across the ring, there's very few people I've ever seen that would be able to keep up with his pace, Hiromu being one of them. This was an excellent match. I absolutely loved everything about this. It put a sense of doubt in my mind because I firmly believed that Lio Rush could have won this match. Hiromu does pick up the win here. Afterwards, we see Zack Sabre Jr. coming out, representing TMDK. And for a moment, we thought maybe he's going to challenge, even though Zack's no longer in the junior heavyweight division. But he kicks it to a video. And on the video screen, we get the newest member of TMDK, Robbie Eagles. So Robbie Eagles has left Chaos to join TMDK. We've already talked about Sonata leaving LIJ to join Just 5 Guys, which was just 4 guys until he joined. And in a moment, we're going to be talking about David Finlay joining Bullet Club. So a lot of shifting of alliances, a lot of reshuffling, which I think has been sorely needed to refreshen the product in New Japan, give us new challenges, new alliances, new feuds. I think it's going to be a fun summer and a fun rest of the year for New Japan. This was awesome. I can't wait to see Hiromu and Robbie Eagles go against each other. I think that's going to be fantastic. I'm giving the match a 5. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. That leads us into our main event of the show. Two guys that are on a very similar path. David Finlay, who, like I just said, just joined Bullet Club and has claimed to be the leader, and Sonata, who just joined Just 5 Guys, and I know that's a lot of justs. And their thing is they don't have a leader, although it's pretty obvious he's going to be the focal point. These two feel like their careers in New Japan kind of mirrored each other, where they both have had a ton of potential, both have had some success in tag team runs. Maybe Sonata a little more than Finlay. It's felt like he's had some chances, but never really capitalized on them. This was an absolutely fantastic match, and I really think it was New Japan's way of saying, hey, let's see what these guys could do. Can these guys replace a Jay White that just left? Can they be in there as opponents for Okada? Can they stand up to Naito? Will they be interesting as main events? And these guys pulled it off. They put it on an absolutely fantastic finals match for the New Japan Cup. Ultimately, at the end, Sonata picks up the win. Where they're going to go with this is going to be very interesting, because if they don't put the title on Sonata, this is just going to be another false start for Sonata where they give him a little bit but don't give him everything. And I think it's got to be now or never. If they're ever going to pull the trigger on him, they have to pull it now, because if not, the fans are just going to give up on him, because this will be the 3rd or 4th time he's been in this type of position and not been able to pull off the win for the big. After the match, we see Just 5 Guys come out, they celebrate. Sonata calls Okada to the ring, basically challenging him officially. Okada accepts. They talk back and forth a bit. For all that, I'm giving that a 5. I thought it was fantastic. To me, this was a very enjoyable show. Ultimately, there was only one match on the whole card that I would say I didn't like, and that was Taguchi, Yano, and Narita and Desperado going up against Big Togo, Sho, Yujiro, and Evil. And the weird thing is, most of these guys I like. I love Yano's matches. I love Taguchi's matches. They bring that comedy in. Ren Narita, to me, reminds me, and I know it's on purpose, of Shibata. Desperado, I think, is one of the best Super Juniors they have, or best junior heavyweights they have, which Super Juniors is on my mind because it's about to start up in about a month and a half. So that match was a little bit disappointing. The two final matches, the New Japan Cup and the Junior Heavyweight Championship match, were my two favorites of the night. I'm going to give the slight edge to the Junior Heavyweight Championship match. Not saying that Finlay and Sonata didn't put on a great match, just Lio Rush and Hiromu Takahashi put on just a little bit better. Most of the card was really good. There's a lot of excitement on what's going to happen next. There's a lot of newness to New Japan. There was even a vignette that I didn't mention on here because I have no idea what it's going to. It kind of looked like an old vignette for a Godzilla movie, which has to be on purpose. And who knows who that could be? Could it be a group? Could it be one guy? Could it be a repackaging of somebody already on the roster? Maybe one of the Young Lions. All in all, I thought this was a fantastic card. I'm giving it overall a 4. I thought it was really good, really enjoyable. With that being said, Let's smash that like button, share the video, subscribe if you haven't. And if you made it all the way to the end, let me know what your favorite faction in New Japan is. Is it one of the newer ones, or like Just Five Guys, or the newly reshuffled TMDK? Is it Aussie Open? Is it the Standby Chaos? LIJ? Is it Bullet Club still? Let me know what you think. And that was someone's car alarm going off. I don't know who that was because it's very early in the morning here. I'm guessing somebody going to work that forgot to turn off their alarm before opening the door. But again, let me know what you think. What's your favorite faction in New Japan? With all that being said, my name is George Coles, and this has been my review of New Japan Pro Wrestling New Japan Cup Finals 2023.